Mo in Long Island, welcome to the program.
Yeah, hi. Let me take you off speaker.
Oh, please.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and happy St. Patty's Day.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the draconian smoking bans in various states, but I'm going to stay on topic. You guys raised the thing about how the NAACP is suing all these banks for discrimination. And this recent scandal with Maxine Waters made me aware of this bank, One United Bank. Have you guys ever heard of it?
The one in Southern California?
Oh, my God. It is like their rhetoric is right out of Acorn. I mean, I'm looking at their website right now, and it's like One United Bank is fulfilling the 100-year-old civil rights dream. I'm not going to go on.
Yeah.
But, it's just amazing how when the left does the same things, it gets buried under by the media.
Sure.
And, it's just so hypocritical. And then the other thing that no one seems to talk about, have any of you guys ever heard the name Herb Moses?
No. There was a Moses who was a builder in New York City, but it wasn't Herb.
Okay, I'm not going to go too long with this, but I'm going to read this right off of Fox News. This is going to blow your mind because nobody has heard about this. Barney Frank, okay? Unqualified home buyers were not the only ones who benefited from Massachusetts Rep. Barney Frank's efforts to deregulate Fannie Mae throughout the 90s. So did Frank's partner, and you guys know what I'm talking about there. So did Frank's partner, a Fannie Mae executive, at the forefront of the agency's push to relax lending restrictions.
Phil Graham was right in that as well.
Was that Barney Frank's partner, was that the fellow who was running the whorehouse out of their apartment?
Well, I think Washington, D.C. is one big whorehouse, but I mean...
Well, no, this is male prostitution.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean...
Well, and you know what, Mo, you brought up an interesting point, and we tread where angels fear to tread. I'm not politically correct, and I speak my mind. If anybody disagrees, they have the ability to do it. But the Acorn people got exactly what they wanted. They wanted the opportunity for home ownership and all this other stuff. But you see who's picking up the tab. It is a great socialization that everybody, according to his need, according to his wants, will be provided for. You are hitting right at the core of the ideology of socialism. A few more words on this, if you will, Mo, right after this break. Mo, I'm going to put this as simply and succinctly as I can. What we saw on January 20th in Washington, D.C. was the culmination and celebration of socialists in this country.
I know.
And here has been the problem, and I've said this on this program before, and I've never gotten an angry phone call, never got a nasty email over this. I am not a racist. I just calls them as I sees them. And in this country, the rub between whites and blacks has always been the ideology that was fueling the blacks in this country, and that was socialism. So it is of no surprise when you mention about this type of bank or whatever. Obama is the new head socialist, and there's really not any doubt about this whatsoever. There's no careful picking and choosing of phraseology or terms or words or whatever. It's his flat-out belief system, his ideology. And to watch the millions celebrate the new socialist, and I didn't care what color he was. Socialism is socialism. I don't care who the bearer is. But that has always been the real deep rub between blacks and whites in this country. Nobody that I know was a fan of slavery, claiming ownership of another human being. That in any era, in any country at any time, is wrong. But it has been the ideology and the socialized mantra that they were carrying and supporting all these years, which a lot of people, conservative people, and not all of them white folks, there's a news flash. Many conservative blacks in this country saw the very same thing. And these are subject matters you will never hear discussed on any national format at all. And the political correctness, I mean, people are afraid to speak and call what is going on and give it its proper name. That's why we need to move ahead with hate crime legislation. This is why we can't decry those that are trying to destroy the very system that was the horn of plenty for so many years. It is. I sit in awe of it every single day. People have lost what has given them so much, and the promise and the hope, of which they're running short of. And it looks like Obama's hope chest is now locked. It is now a locked box.
Well, John, I agree with everything you said, and you always hear them talking in the rhetoric about the oppressors. And
yeah.
It's like the pot calling the kettle black, but they pick and choose. You never hear anything about purge deniers, do you? You know, everything from them is so one-sided, but what really scares me is the effect with their mass communications and their brainwash. Everyone that I've ever dealt with is just, I've watched them succumb to it. And you ever see a movie, The Fountainhead, based on Ayn Rand's book?
Absolutely.
Gary Cooper, Patricia Neal.
Yep.
So I saw that movie when I was 14, and it shaped me about the rights of the individual versus obligation to the collective. It's so basic. But so few people in this country understand that anymore.
Well, and anybody that has not, and I'll tell you, it would be a scary thing for people to do, to pick up Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. You can't buy it new, I don't think, anymore. You can get it in used bookstores. There's always copies of it laying around. But read that book, folks. I mean, it's a long book. If you want to jump in halfway into it and pick it up and start reading, you miss a lot of the color and the fill-in there, but that's another book. And I'll tell you what, that is a projection for America. I mean, it is, yeah. And I'm in agreement with you. The principle, and isn't it funny, Mo, that we no longer see movies that are made with those type of things espoused throughout the film?
Now you see a bunch of special effects from Spielberg with their left-wing brainwash and a bunch of reality shows with no substance.
And everybody nursing at that teat to keep their jobs and stay in favor in communist Hollywood.
I'll tell you, I grew up in a place just like Mayberry, and you know what? I'm proud. So what if it was white bread and milk toast? My uncle could pump his own gas and leave the money on the top while the mechanic worked on the car. That's kind of world I grew up in, and I don't think it's coming back, unfortunately.
Well, and never say never. As long as the memories, and this is why I've said, Mo, before, that in fact, this is exactly what may have had to have happened, because people, Madison Avenue and Wall Street created an illusion. The bankers were there to fulfill your dreams, even though that they didn't tell you that when you wake up out of this, it's going to be a living nightmare. But, it is what it is. And we've got our dues to pay collectively as an entire nation. But I do see those days coming back. And the one thing that could have guaranteed the globalist success is they pushed too hard and too fast. Their program was working perfectly. They made one mistake. Their Achilles heel is their arrogance. They pushed this time frame too hard. If they would have let people like Mr. Robert Chapman, Robbie Noel, John Statmiller, Mo in Long Island, people like ourselves just fade away, and they continued their propaganda campaigns through our universities and our schools and in through the media, there wouldn't have been a whimper. There wouldn't have been nothing. But they screwed up. They picked on my generation. They picked on your generation when we have the memories like we have. And by God, it will be again. I swear to this. I swear to God. And I will do everything in my power to make that happen. I thank you for your call, sir.
Amen to that, brothers.
All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, did we lose them both, or did I put them aside?
No, we're listening to your discourse.
Well, let's not.
And I thought it was quite apropos and excellent.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, coming from a man like yourself. Steve in Ohio. Hello, Steve.
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi.
And, John, you mentioned about the price of oil going up for any little excuse. I remember a few years ago, a squirrel got into an electrical transformer down over in Louisiana in refinery, and the price of gasoline went up 25 cents in just the weekend.
Yes, but it came back down after they killed the squirrel and repaired the damage.
Yeah, and Bob, you missed a key word when mentioning Barney Frank. You missed the word underage male prostitution.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
With 13 to 17-year-olds. 18-year-olds were too old for them, so...
Let me ask you a question, Steve. Let me get your take on this.
Yeah.
Why do we tolerate people like Barney Fagg?
Why do we tolerate?
Yes.
Because the People's Republic, or not People's Republic, but the Communist Party in Massachusetts is pretty strong, and I think there are probably some vote fraud going on over there too.
Well,
you know, I grew up in Massachusetts.